This might be the easiest showstopper you'll ever flip out of a pan. Except it's not a dessert. It's savory, it's sticky, and it's made entirely from leeks. Hello friends, today we're making a Leek Tarte Tatin, a plant-based twist on the classic French upside-down tart, made in a cast iron skillet. We'll caramelize the leeks low and slow, then finish them with a maple syrup, balsamic, and miso sauce before wrapping the whole thing in a puff pastry. Sweet, savory, a little umami from the miso. Let's get into it. I'm Omid. I spent one career learning how to listen to people as a therapist and another learning how to listen to food as a chef. Same skill, different senses. Welcome to my kitchen. Let's slow down and actually learn something. Aren't these gorgeous? I particularly like buying my leeks from my local farmer's market, where they allow the natural beauty of the vegetable to be showcased. No cutting, no trimming, or shrink wrapping it into some kind of a plastic bag. This one I did buy at my local supermarket, however, but what I particularly appreciate about this is that it still showcases more of the vegetable instead of just cutting it at this section and then wrapping it up into a plastic. I love using the whole of the leek. Obviously, the white and the light green part is the tender and more flavorful part. And then as you get closer to the end and these outer layers that tend to be quite chewy and fibrous, not something you necessarily want to cook with it. But let me tell you, you can again trim these and keep it in a Ziploc bag in your freezer so that the next time you're wanting to make a broth, this will be a good flavoring agent for that. Another great option is turning your leftover leeks into a gorgeous aromatic leek salt. I have linked that video here and in the description down below. The thing about leek is, I think it's important to know how it grows. This part, certainly the white and the lighter green part, is buried into the soil, so it becomes a really great opportunity to trap dirt inside of it. Hence why it is so important to wash your leeks quite thoroughly. And I will show that in just a second. But sometimes I will cut it in half and then rinse the dirt out. And in this case, I do want rings to be used for my tarte tatin. So I will cut it at this end and then show you what I'll do with the rest of it. To wash the leek, I'm going to take this outer layer out, and you can already see how much dirt is trapped in here. So pull this out and just keep checking to see if the outer layer is still fibrous or it's tender. This feels fine, but I will start saving these. I will wash them and then add it to my Ziploc bag in the freezer. While I'm at it, given that I'm only going to use the round parts that are tightly wound for this dish, I will go ahead and cut the parts that are not going to be useful for this dish, put it aside, and then wash all of these really well. And you can see outside, if I just wash this out, there will be no more dirt trapped in there. For this dish, it's visually really important to cut all your leeks the same size so that when you lay them out in the pan, they are all uniform and beautiful when you flip them. So go ahead, trim the very ends. And again, these are stock material. And now just take your time and cut them. And if you want to make sure that they're the same, just move one of the pieces that you cut as a guide so that everything that you end up making is the same size. Just see how nice and beautiful and how tight these rings are. Let's talk about puff pastry. Obviously, a lot of available puff pastry is made with butter. That said, there are varieties that are plant-based, and this is one of them. You will, depending on where you live, you will likely find them in your freezer aisle of the grocery store, but sometimes they can be stored in the refrigerator. Regardless of where you find them, follow the instructions for the thawing, because there is nothing worse than a half frozen or way too softened puff pastry to work with. It just makes life a little bit more challenging. What I like to do when I have the time and the patience, I thaw it overnight in the refrigerator, so when I'm ready to use it, it's ready to go. To cook the leeks, you can just use any pan that you got that is oven safe. But I love using my cast iron because it just, to me, it's just so endearing and charming. It's like a long-term relationship. This particular cast iron I've probably had over 20 plus years. So it is a workhorse in my kitchen and I use it quite frequently. And obviously it is hardy and oven safe. The pan has been gently heated, and I'm going to start with adding a tablespoon of the olive oil, followed by a couple of tablespoons of plant-based butter. Butter has melted, so now we can go ahead and start adding the leeks to the pan. Just keep them nice and tight, stacked up against one another so they can help each other stand up. This is a step where we're going to take our time. There is no rushing this. As a matter of fact, your food will taste better when you have slowly cooked these leeks and allowed them to gently caramelize. The leeks are cooking behind me and I wish you were here. There's just such a subtle scent in the air and that subtle crackling sound that they're making. I just find it quite comforting. So while they are cooking, let's establish the sauce. For the simple sauce that we're going to be making, I'm going to use fresh thyme, grated garlic, miso, balsamic vinegar, and maple syrup. And it's completely up to you. Do you want it to be more on the acidic tart side? Increase the balsamic. If you like it a little bit on the sweeter side, up your game with the maple syrup. I'm just going to create a balance as to what I think I would like, which tends to be a little bit more balsamic vinegar than maple syrup. As always, I love using aged balsamic vinegar because it naturally provides you with such a depth of flavor and richness that you're not going to get from a cheap, runny balsamic vinegar. If you don't have one, stay to the end. I'll show you how to make your own balsamic glaze from a garden variety balsamic vinegar that you may have bought from the store. Grab your whisk and give the sauce a good mix until everything is nicely combined. Pick up a few of the leeks and check how beautifully they have been caramelized. Once you are happy with the color, turn off the heat and pour the sauce over the leeks. Then use a brush or a spatula to gently push the sauce down between the leeks so it reaches the surface of the pan. To prepare the puff pastry, take it out of the original packaging and lay it flat on the cutting board. Carefully pick up the puff pastry and drape it over the cast iron. Be sure to go around and tuck in all the edges so that everything is nicely tucked in. The oven has been preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit and it's ready for our Tarte Tatin to go in. I don't know what it is about a flip that is just so universally exciting. As an Iranian, I have been flipping rice and tahdig just about all my life. As a teacher, I watch my students with this anticipation and excitement and a sense of achievement when they flip the rice, or in this case, as we flip the tarte tatin. On the other side of the flip, however, is another concept we need to embrace, and that is acceptance and surrender. it will be what it will be. It's already cooked. And if it's perfect, then we can celebrate. If it's not perfect or it's less than perfect, I think we can find a way to embrace and accept the imperfection of our cooking. So if there are any parts of the leeks that are stuck in the bottom of the pan as I flip it, no big deal. I'll just slowly lift them up and then place them back onto the plate, and no one will ever have to know. And so what if you got stuck and then you transferred it? It still tastes delicious. It'll still be marvelous. The moment of truth has arrived. The pan has sat for about 15 minutes. Every part is nice and cooled down. So all you need is a plate or platter large enough that you can flip over, place it on the cast iron. Obviously, this is heavy. Be careful. The words of encouragement that I can offer you is do it confidently, quickly, and carefully. So here we go. Hand on the plate, anchor around the handle, and a quick flip. And I find that if I just let it sit for a minute, any bits and pieces that may still be stuck will fall down onto the pastry, and we'll see. Here we go. So I'm going to slowly lift this up, and oh my goodness, there is nothing stuck to the bottom of the pan, and everything has fallen with such beautiful steam and scent of maple and balsamic that is just quite intoxicating. So I'm going to let this cool a little bit before I cut into it. There's still a little bit of sauce left behind, so I just added a touch of water and deglazed it, and now I'm going to pour this over the tart, so nothing wasted. It is everything you imagine it to be. The leeks are sweetened, that playful dance of balsamic vinegar and maple syrup that just really come together, backboned by that miso and thyme and garlic that just gives it a really beautiful savory direction to this otherwise a very traditional French dessert dish. I hope you give this a try, and I hope you love it as much as I do. Thank you for being here today. If you make this, I love to hear how it turns out for you. Do let me know in the comments. And if you want more of this in your life, hit subscribe. I'll see you next time.